joining us today for this very special last Lunch and Learn of the season. Um, Hold on. Jen, can I have the camera on me? I'm so sorry. So I'm Joan Inman. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for UAB ArtPlay. And I'm thrilled to welcome you to today's program, which is an intimate conversation with Grammy award-winning musician Alex Cuba, and this conversation is moderated by Christian Trevino. This discussion coincides with Cuba's upcoming performance at the Alice Stevens Center on Thursday, April 3rd. Alex Cuba is a Cuban-Canadian singer and songwriter, composer, multi-instrumentalist, and producer known for his genre-defining Latin music. With 9 albums to his name, he has earned 4 Latin Grammy Awards, 2 Juno Awards, and a 2022 Grammy for Best Latin Pop Album. His signature Latin soul sound fuses Afro-Cuban roots with global influences like jazz, pop, and funk, blending poetic lyricism with a fresh take on the cantator of tradition. And Christian Trevino is the founder of Latinos Con Onda, an event company dedicated to celebrating Latin American culture. He is also the co-host of the Other Sounds of Latino America on Birmingham Substrate Radio. A passionate vinyl collector and event promoter, Christian curates experiences that bring people together through music and culture. We'll also have a short Q&A at the end of the discussion, so please feel free to drop your questions into the chat throughout the program. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Christian.
Thank you. Gracias. Hola, Alex.
Hola, Christian. How you doing?
Amazing. What about you?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah. Good to see you.
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be talking to you, so I'm going to enjoy this.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here talking to all of you today. Thank you.
Okay, let's go way back. When did you first start making music and what got you into it?
It was way back in my life. I started playing claves. I don't know if you know what claves is. Claves is a Cuban instrument. For those who don't know, it's 2 pieces of wood. They're round, and you play them like hitting one with the other. It sounds like, that thing keeps, in Cuban music, that's used as the metronome. It's the heart of the music. Meaning that if you mess that up, if your timing is not impeccable, the groove is shaking, it's not steady, something's happening. And I remember playing that when I was 4 years old. So I actually went to a national television show with one of my father's bands playing that instrument. So that's as far as I remember, my beginning of music. And I think, it's kind of hard for me to put my finger into, exactly what attracted me to it. All I can say is that I was born in a house of musicians. My father, a master guitar player, and so he was playing every day, and music was in the air.
Okay, and now that you said that, what was it like growing up in Cuba? I mean, musically speaking. I mean, you like coming in a house of musicians. How was it?
I can tell you, it was fantastic. Growing up in Cuba, musically was amazing because there was music everywhere. Music was like a way of life, and people will really enjoy it. And yeah, there was an incentive to become musician. Music was a very dignified job. Cuba music, and it still is a job that the government gives you salary for. There is different levels to it. But yeah, it was so beautiful and so easy. Let's say it was just like that. I actually have a little bit of a hard time searching, people here in North America that, I don't teach, but, there is once in a while the person that say, hey, I'd love to learn your chords, whatever. And how much would you charge me? I feel bad about it, because nobody charged me to learn what I learned. And I think God-given talent
Yes.
is no should not be guilty of any financial situation. I mean, we all have to make our living. We all know
Mhm.
that. But I don't know, man. When somebody has talent, is to negate because the person doesn't have money to pay me, for example, to negate what, and because we can see the potential there. You can take it, or you could be the savior of music tomorrow.
Yes.
But so I kind of feel weird, charging money because my upbringing, the way I was brought up.
Okay. Okay. Alex, I've seen in some interviews that North American music was a game changer for you. What kind of music were you listening to before, and which artists introduced you like to other genres?
Well, I grew up listening to, of course, a lot of the Cuban music. My father, his name is Valentin Puentes. He's
Okay.
81 years old, still teaching music in Cuba, still because the community doesn't let him retire. So he's an incredible teacher. Incredible. He's so great at it. People love him there. Every time I go back, I'm not Alex Q anymore. I'm Valentin's son. You know how that goes.
Gotcha. Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
but eh, I remember, so growing up, my father is like an encyclopedia of Cuban music. He
Okay.
knows everything traditional Cuban music, right? So I grew up listening to Compay Segundo, to Matamoros, to Carlos Embale, to all of the traditions, traditionals. And then, but when I was 11 years old, by, I don't know, by a miracle of God, uh, somebody lets onto national television uh, one of Michael Jackson's videos.
Okay.
And I'm saying this because, of course, everybody knows that there is no relationship between Cuba and the United States. And
Mhm.
so it was prohibited. But somehow somebody sort of turned a blind eye and say, I'm going to play this. It was Billie Jean. So I was sitting in front of the TV. I was 11 years old. And when I hear, I'm like, what's that? But I can't, as far as I can recall, that was my first encounter with groove, that way, kind of thing, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And that stayed in me. I started dancing like Michael Jackson, dressing up like him. I looked physically like him, so
Yes.
I took it very personal. And then when I was 14, a band from Havana City came to my town. I'm from a town about an hour west of Havana City
Okay.
called Artemisa. And a big band from Havana came. I mean, a famous band from Havana came to play, and they had an electric bass. I was 14 years old. That was the first time I ever, see an electric bass. And I'm like, my dad saw me looking at the band like that, and he's like, I'm like, Dad, what's that? And he's like, oh, that's an electric bass. And I'm like, wow. And he goes like, you like it? He said, yeah, I love it. And he said, okay, I got you one. He got me one the following week, and away I went into studying American music. I dived into all of the great jazz players, Jaco Pastorius, John Patitucci, Marcus Miller, um, you name it, Ron Carter, Charles Mingus. That from that point forward, I call that as the point of no return for me. That was it right there. So American music really grabbed me, and then now as a singer songwriter, it's funny because everything I do is fundamentally or seamlessly, right, quite fused because of the music that I was exposed to and how I understand the both worlds. So it makes my music be what it is. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. And I mean, you'll see. I've always thought where you live, like it has a big impact on the music that you create. Like you got these like young Norwegians, boys in the '90s, doing black metal music, right? Or
Yeah.
or the vibrant upbeat styles from Latin American beaches towns. So, how's living in Canada for over 20 years? Influence your sound? I mean, coming from Cuba. I mean, because if this is true, I mean, you got both of the worlds.
Yes, yes. And I often, when people ask me to describe my music, I often say, well, my music, not to sound cheesy or cursi or anything, but my music, what I believe it is a fusion between a mango seed and an apple seed, you know. So that makes a tree that grows in both countries, you know, that sort of thing. But yes, that is one fundamental influence that I can totally put my finger on and tell you specifically how Canada has influenced what I do. In Cuba, we have a super dense and heavy music ecosystem, musical ecosystem, meaning the talent to be talented in Cuba is so common. You find so many great musicians. You know, as I said, I joke. You know, you kick a rock and that is like 100 musicians, one better than the other down there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so for us, it's very competitive. You have to be the best of the best. You know.
Okay.
And that shows up in the music too, because Cuba, being close to the world since 1959, we created a local national ecosystem of music who didn't, which didn't believe in borders or limitations. So very strangely, you know, popular music, commercial music sounds like jazz, right? Like
Okay.
you hear people going down the street humming a mambo line, you know, a horn line of a song that goes, and that's popular music for us, you know. Wow.
Wow.
So it obviously elevated the level in the island, but the consequence of that is nobody outside of Cuba follows that, you know.
Okay.
And so, in the way that Canada has influenced me and shaped me is to bring the focus onto the song itself instead of the arrangement, the density of the many notes that I can write into a paper and make the musician play. No, focus on the song as the main thing and look at music from the inside out. Meaning, if you look at music from the inside out, you will center yourself on the song, and then from the song, everything. You know, it's like getting dressed. You know, it's like once you have a body, you can dress it any way you want. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, and that's why for me it's been so revolutionary in a way to do that in Canada, because now I perform, you know, with my sense of cue and rhythm and my sense of groove. I am able to perform a solo show and make people move. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But it's because I focus on music, you know, on music from the inside out. For me, the songs are the most important thing, and that is what kind of really made it clear and influenced me with it. You know.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Alex, you have collaborated with artists ranging from Nelly Furtado to Dromedarios Mágicos. How do these collaborations come about, and what was your favorite part of, working with different artists?
Collaborations are still going for me in my career because I think I think it's once you get a taste for it, you know, and it goes well and the stuff, it always leaves you with something magical, you know.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna hide from you that at the beginning I was a little scared of it because I did never done one and I didn't know how to face it, how to do it, how to write a song on demand, for example, right? And
Okay.
that's what happened to me. That's how happened, you know, with Nelly. Um, Nelly was for many years she was wanting to do an album in Spanish, and one day she's in Toronto at the musician that was her music director at the band on the band that she had, and they were jamming, and she said, "Hey, this will sound great in Spanish. I love to make an album in Spanish. Uh, do you know any musician, any Latin musician in Canada?" And he said, "Oh yeah, Alex Cuba. You don't know Alex Cuba?" He said, "No." So he introduced it to my music, and then the next day, you know, they were reaching out to me, and so we began. And so for me, it was a huge responsibility because wow, to put into Nelly's voice, you know, for the first time, a whole album in Spanish, that was quite a responsibility.
Yes, sí, sí, sí.
And I took it very seriously. I worked really hard on that song. On that album. She recorded 9 songs that we co-wrote on that album.
Wow.
And it was amazing. So it left me feeling really great, as you can imagine. And then from there, they became easier. But what I like about collaborations is that it teaches you as a songwriter to see the other person's point of view, to walk or try to get into the other person's that you're collaborating with shoes, and walk in their shoes and see what the world is like from their eyes. And that is a beautiful, psychological exercise when you write. So so that you always have good aim at what you're saying and total clear, clarity of what you're saying. And so yeah, and then I got into production myself, and then that's another level of collaborating because then you love it when the voices blend really well, and I love creating the arrangement. Like, well, let's do this part, you do this part, I do this part, and then here we come together. And I love ghosting them in the back, like doing harmonies for them. It's just beautiful. Yeah, it teaches me
Nice.
a lot every time.
Perfect. Hey, in 2022, Alex, you won a Grammy for Best Latin Pop Album with Mendo. What was the experience like? Have you been nominated before? Tell me everything about it.
That was my fourth nomination to the American Grammys. Yeah,
Okay.
and it was the first one that I didn't go because the Grammy that year, the Grammys were happening at the end of January that year. I think they usually happen around there. But it was still kind of the tail end of the pandemic, and they
Uh-huh.
moved it. They were forced to move it, to April. And when they did that, it clashed with my itinerary. I had two shows with a symphony in this province in Canada, down south, and so I couldn't go to the ceremony. I'm like, oh, I was all banged up, but I had to go to work. I had these two shows that I've been looking forward to. I love performing with symphonies, and uh,
So you
and
went
and
to the three before, or the other three you went to those, right?
see, the other three I won. Yeah, like I
Okay,
said to you,
okay, okay.
this is the first time that I win, and the first time that I didn't go. It's so kind of funny. So I've been joking with my friends. Maybe it's a recipe for winning. Don't go. Don't show up. But making Mendo, I did Mendo you know, during the pandemic, and I recorded that album in my living room. I'm talking to you now from my studio, as you can see.
Yeah.
But back in 2021, 2020, 2021, when I was recording the album, I didn't have a studio, so I recorded it in my living room. It
Okay.
was it was quite the thing, because as you imagine, you have to ask your family "Oh, can you be quiet for 15 minutes? I just need to lay down this little vocal here." It was quite the thing, right? But that kept me going. The world was upside down, pandemic, all of this, you know, you know. And music kept me going, kept me hopeful, kept me, creativity has that magical way, to keep you interested, And so I am so grateful to music and to whatever came to me that stay on me and pushed at me and pushed me and it was I got to a point where everything I will hear, will sound like music. It's like you say something, oh, like this and that. I will hear music in your words, and then all of a sudden something. I will be making coffee, and the bass line will come down, and because I was so close to the microphone, I will run to my computer, turn it on, everything, record the bass line, and then leave it there, and from there, boom, a song that I have on the album with the opening track of that album with Sima Funk.
Hmm.
That bass line, I recorded it that way. And so it was like, catching lightning in a bottle for me. That's the energy that the album Mendo has. It's been, for the first time, the least amount of time between a musical idea landing in my mind and me recording it.
Okay. Okay.
To me, that was like catching lightning. It's like it's got that electricity, right? Because usually you write a song and and you take it easy. Some time goes by before you go to the studio. You book time, you go to the studio, work it out, and record a song. No, that was like write it, go. Lands in your mind, go for it. So Mendo has that special energy that I love, and I try now to keep that going because, and that's the reason why I ended up making, finally making myself a studio because I want to really get those moments of truth, as I call them, trap them. Um, I hope that answers your question. I think I sort of derailed a little bit there, but I was excited about
And your
Mendo.
feeling about like, I mean, how did you realize that you got the Grammy and what you feel about it?
Oh, so I went to, like I said to you, I went to play those shows, and the day of the Grammy was, I think, yeah, it was a Sunday or something. That's the day I was coming back home. This place is about 8 hours from where I live, so we decided to drive. My wife came with me, and our youngest came with us as well. It's beautiful place down south. It's called Kelowna, and so I looked at the clock. My publicist in New York City, he sends me a message and says, "Hey, here is the rundown of the day, so that you know when your category is being awarded." So I looked at the time and I said, "That's gonna be if I get driving now, I'm going to, if I get behind the wheel, by the time my category is awarded, I'm gonna be behind the wheel, which is what I want. I don't want to be glued to my phone trying to see who won or who did. He didn't. So I get driving, and you know, like 3 hours later, the the phone rings in my car. And funny enough, I didn't have my publicist number added to my contact with his name. So all I saw was a number. I didn't recognize it, so I didn't answer. Oh, no, that's weird number.
Mhm,
And he calls again, and I'm like, who's calling me? So I finally answered, and it was my publicist from New York City to say, hey, Alex, what the hell, man? I've been trying to get a hold of you. Where are you? Where are you? I said, oh, I'm driving back home. He said, man, you need to stop now because you got media coming your way. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't know yet. And it's like, no, he didn't clue didn't yet. He was like, no, 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 stop. What are you? I can hear you driving. No, stop. Because I got, I don't know, I got Telemundo, I got Televisa, you know. And I'm like, John, what are you talking about? He said, oh, you don't know. He said, you don't know why? He said, you just won a Grammy. I'm like, oh my God. That was a crazy moment. That was
nice.
the crazy. I joke when I tell people, that because we were actually under a snowstorm. It was April 3rd, so sometimes up here in the north, while the weather stabilizes itself,
Okay.
you could get anything in April. And I was right under a snowstorm and this massive news. So I joke to people that I'm proud of myself because I kept the car on the road. I didn't get nervous and get off, and something that happened to me. But then when I said that to the Canadian media, they all said that I had a record. They gave me a record uh, for winning a Grammy in the most Canadian way ever. Driving under a snowstorm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's nice. Well, after that, after Mendo, then it came El Swing Que Yo Tengo, which I've heard you describe as more like electronic. Why did you decide to explore that direction?
Well, we live in an era where the inclusion of beats, of digital uh, sort of tools in music is very real.
Hmm.
To the point that a lot of people don't feel any stimulation if what they're listening doesn't have electronic drums, and things like that. So for me, it was always, and I got to the point around there that that I started allowing the computer as one more instrument. I'm telling myself, why not? If you look at it as an instrument, then it's
Hmm.
up to what you do with it. So I said to myself, the hell with this. Let me play with it with a little bit, and I got going. Programming beats, creating beats,
Okay.
and I think it was a necessary step for me. I needed to go there in order to realize if it really is compatible with what I do with my world. And so I got satisfied with what I did, and that was it. I think it's an island inside my discography because I realized that I really, really, really like playing instruments, playing real instruments. So we're good.
Okay, okay. Well, unlike you realize Voces de mi Familia, which also features collaborations. Tell me
Yeah.
about the process of putting that album together.
Well, the collaborations on that album are very special because, as the title says, Voces de mi Familia, which means voices of my family. I'm singing with my family, with my mother, my father, my brother, my uncle, my auntie, and it was a trip. It was quite a trip, that to the journey, that album, which also began during the pandemic. I was sitting, uh, having dinner, one evening, and all of a sudden I get this message with a video from Cuba over WhatsApp, and it was a cousin of mine there sending me a video of my auntie, which was her grandma,
Okay.
singing a cappella. The reason why she sent it to me is because that auntie of mine never did any singing before. It's always it was always her husband, my blood uncle, right? The musician, the songwriter, you know. But she never did any singing before. But all of a sudden, she got dementia a few years before that, and that dementia made it sing with a voice that no one in the family knew that she had, a
Whoa.
voice of an angel. So my cousin wanted me to hear that. She sent me the video, and when I opened, I was, even though I was, having dinner or whatever, which I try to disconnect when I'm doing that. Um, I saw it was from Cuba, so I opened it up. I said, because the world is upside down, and maybe there is an emergency or something. And for in those days, everybody had their hearts, right there, like, because you could hear at any moment that a friend of yours got COVID, or things like that. And so I opened the video, and when I see that, I couldn't believe it. My wife and I, we both went, "What? That's so beautiful!" So what I did, as soon as I finished having dinner, I flew the video to my computer, which was in my living room. My studio was set up in my living room, and since it was a cappella, I extracted the sound of it and I created a song, put instruments to it with my auntie's voice. Sent it back to them. They freaking loved it. Oh my god, there were tears. There were like people, oh my god, auntie's gonna become famous. But the truth is, she had an amazing voice. Anyway, I said to my cousin, keep sending me videos like that, and she sent me like five more with my uncle, singing a few songs, and then my auntie again, and then I had my parents come from Cuba and visit me here for a little while. And so I got into the studio and I make my father sing for the very first time in his life, and my mother as well for the very first time. Also, my brother. My brother's been singing for a while. And then before I knew it, I had an album, a very special album, with my family voices, and so I gave it a lot of love. The album even got a nomination to the Latin Grammys, that I am very proud of. So yeah, it was quite a beautiful project. It had so much meaning, and my timing doing it was impeccable because my auntie, from where the project began, he passed away like a month later after the album came out last year,
I'm sorry.
and then about 3 weeks ago, her husband, my uncle, passed away in Cuba. So now their voices are there forever, and
Qué
I feel
bonito.
very lucky that I was able
Man,
to do it.
that's beautiful. I didn't know that it has like that a lot of meaning. That's beautiful. Qué bonito.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, Alex. I once heard an artist talk about tiempo nalga.
That
Uh,
made me laugh.
the time spent to write songs. What do you
Yeah.
enjoy more, tiempo nalga or time in the studio or live performances?
It's a combination. I think, you have to, as an artist, you have to, if it doesn't come naturally, you have to force yourself to love all of them because they're all special, they're all important, they're all necessary, and they're all different ways of expressing your art and so I take all of them very seriously. I have to say that building a song in the studio is magical,
Okay.
right? If for those like me, musicians like me, that I was fortunate enough to develop musicianship before I became a singer-songwriter. When I write a song, I immediately hear the arrangement, and I hear the groove, the bass line, and I hear everything, right? So I rush and try to get that. And for me to build that from thin air, from thin air into something that you put in through a microphone is just magic, And like any songwriter out there, what is my favorite song? The one that I just wrote. We get wrapped into it, and for you, it's the best song you ever wrote in your life. It's always like that, always like that. But there is also a lot of magic when you are in front of an audience and you touch their hearts, which is always the goal when I perform, to make people have a good time, to make people breathe. All, I don't know, what could be seen as a difference, the language barrier, everything. That moment playing live takes for me the meaning of that unification of people, and so I enjoy that a lot. So for me, I enjoy all of them, and it's difficult to pick a favor. You know.
Okay. Okay. Alex, this is gonna be my last question. Uh,
Okay.
what was it like performing in intimate settings like the Tiny Desk or the Audio 3 Live, which this kind of setting seems to be growing in popularity?
Um. Well, I think the pandemic sort of prepare all of us, to do things like that because I don't know if you remember the many artists that they shows, live on Instagram or here or there. It was
Mm-hmm.
kind of weird to perform with just a phone in front of you, and you don't get anything. It's like that was quite the practice, to really stay solid, believing that you're playing for 10,000 people, no matter what, right? So I'm saying this because Tiny Desk is an interesting place to venue to play.
Mm-hmm.
It looks amazing and it sounds amazing because the engineer they had in there was quite the wizard, sound wizard, and making things happen. But the reality is there is against the places against everything that you're used to when you perform. So the drummer has to play super light and quiet, otherwise there or is overpowering your voice. Everything I heard stories when I went there that some bands they get destroyed when they are sound checking and they've been told to no go quiet. They start getting like weird, and then it gets to the point where they don't know if they want to do it, but it always sounds great if you learn how to do it. So it was a little bit challenging, that one specifically, but I've been in music for long enough to really take whatever. And in Canada, I always say that Canada has been an incredible training place for me because number one, um, when you're new in the country, you take you go to conferences, you go to music showcases, to try to get gigs, try to get shows,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and those are usually brutal because you have to be your best in the worst conditions ever, right? Just imagine that they're gonna showcase that day 20 bands. Everyone has 15 minutes on stage. Nobody's gonna get the sound perfect. No,
Exactly.
no, no, the sound guy is doing sound to 20 different people. So I remember those first times that I did showcases, like really crunching. It was like, oh, we get off the stage so mad and upset. Why? This is crazy. You're supposed to be your best in the worst conditions ever, right? Well, guess what? That teaches you
Exactly.
to dominate the environment, to get over it. I mean, even if it sounds weird, you have to put in your mind that you're sounding great, and you have to make people believe that you are believing that. You know what I'm saying? Because you show your body language. And so that's one of the aspects that I think Canada trained me. The other one is because Latin music is fairly new, very young in Canada. Not a lot of people really are fans or exposed to like the music. So for me, uh, learning to rock an audience that doesn't really feel familiar in what they're listening to, it's been quite the learning. So at the beginning it was like, everybody would be super quiet, and then at the end of the song they would clap, but you don't really know if they were enjoying it or not. And then at the end of the night, like a standing ovation, and oh wow, really? They're doing so. It's kind of a great school, and so performing in these venues was relatively, natural for me. So
Nice. Bueno, Alex, muchas gracias. Thank you so much. I guess
you're
John
welcome.
is going to get us to the Q&A. And I mean, me personally, I'm looking forward to April the 3rd para ver tu
Likewise,
presentación en vivo. Va a ser un honor.
gracias. Likewise, honor to speaking with you today. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Christian and Alex. So we're going to move on to the Q&A. So please drop any question you'd like to ask for Alex and or Christian into the chat, please. So I have a personal question that I'd like to ask both of you. So for Alex, what is your favorite thing about performing? What brings you the most ultimate joy? Like, do you like touring? I hear for a lot of artists, being on tour is like being at work, and then when you're at home, it's vacation. It's kind of like the opposite of most people. And then, Christian, to follow up afterwards, like, what's your favorite thing about hosting your amazing events and spreading, like, the beautiful message of your fun events? So, yeah, I'll let you start first, Alex.
For me, my favorite thing about performing is unifying people. Like I said, a few minutes ago, is to know that my music, I mean, to see in front of me, because it's been like this since the beginning. My music going in many different directions, because I didn't um, look at music as something that should always go to one specific demographic in society. I live isolated in Canada, so I don't have a Latin market in front of me. I have to aim at the world, and I always put in my mind that if the music is beautiful, if the music is fresh, if the music is, it's got, if the music is magical, it will cross the language of, the barrier, or cultural barrier, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm experiencing that at every show of mine. There is people from everywhere, every language, people unified by my sound, and I just love that. For me, that's why I think touring for me is still fun, even though I've done it for so many years. And I'm always working. I'm not only working on the road, I'm also working when I'm home, because I produce myself. I write my songs, I play all instruments, I record myself. So music is, for me, vacation is like to go for a walk, or something like that. I'm always working in music, and it doesn't feel like work. It's what I love.
Okay,
Nice.
amazing. So, what about you, Christian? What's your favorite thing about hosting your events and like hosting your radio station?
Well, I mean, the events, I mean, Alex just said the unifying people thing. I'll be honest with you, like, I start doing the events because of fun, at least for me, having fun. And I still thinking like that. But the fact that I'm gonna say at the end of an event, someone came to me. It happened to me at least 3 times, but I remember this specific time that a couple of guys, boy and girl, uh, they tell me, "Hey man, I mean, we were living in Mobile, Alabama, which is I don't know 3-4 hours from here, but we decided to move to Birmingham because of the things that you're doing." So those kind of comments they move.
Wow.
Really, man? Like no, not like and some other couple they got married and they met in my events and stuff. So I mean, I'm still having fun, but when someone came and they like tell me those kind of things that not only being grateful, but they made me realize that I'm like not only me, but me and my team, that we are doing something special for the people. I mean, that's something good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
I know that you are creating so much beautiful art and music here in Birmingham and kind of creating uh, a real like feeling a real need in the community. I see the youth, as I like to call them, and older folks really speak so highly of you. So this next question is from Mina, and it is for Alex. Mina would like to know what's your favorite song to perform, and how was it playing Sarah for your wife when you first wrote it?
Oh, what a great question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mina.
Um, wow, it's really difficult to have a favorite song. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm building my album number 11, and so is I've written, as you can see, many songs, and they all have something. They all have, I don't know, and doing doing it the way that I do music. If you go back into my discography, I am blessed with a weird thing, and I say weird is because I can't be inside a box musically, artistically. So no song of mine sound like another. That is a talent, and that is at the same time is some people could think or see it as a curse, in a way. I love it because that's me, that's who I am, and so it makes it even more difficult to have a favorite song. Um, the song Sarah, writing it was quite the trip for me. It was amazing. It took me some time to write it. I took my time doing it. Um, I will confess that it was, I felt a little bit of I don't know, something that I never felt before when writing a song. Felt a little pressure, because you're writing for your wife, your life partner. You don't want you want that song to be the best song in the world, kind of thing, right? But it took some time to finish it, and I'm lucky that she liked it, and a lot of people around the world. So yeah, that was a blessing for sure.
Well, I'm glad that she approved. Um, you're still alive to tell the tale. So, Rachel said, "Hello, Rachel." So that it says we were listening to your music the other night, and we were wondering aloud how much Funk. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Some of Funk's music might have been influenced by yours. They hadn't realized that you had collaborated previously. And are there any plans for future collaborations with them?
Well, I usually do collaboration with musicians only once, and that's because um, I don't know. We all get busy, and we all get going with our lives, and then I don't know. It makes it kind of difficult. But I don't like repeating myself. That's something about me. Um, no, I think obviously there is a root that we share, right, between Sima Funk and I. We are both Afro-Cubans. So we are both gonna look at sense of groove and rhythm very similarly, very similarly. So I don't. It's not a necessary influence directly from one to the other. Is that we share a common ground. We're both Cubans. We are both Afro-Cuban, and so for us, the sense of groove and rhythm is in our blood. Um, I am more to the intellectual side. My songs talk about sometimes about big, and deep meanings and stuff like that. He's more to the entertainment of it, to more let's just have a good time, and move your body, which is so beautiful, necessary as well. It has to be all for it to be a world. So I'm happy. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. So Mina asks another question. What's the process when someone records your song or covers your song like Mark Anthony? Are you involved during production at all?
Oh, thank you so much for that question. And I know that the person that asked probably has something to do with music. Are you a musician? What a great question.
No, I'm just a
Uh,
fan.
oh, really? Well, I'm gonna be happy to answer that because specifically on the version that Mark Anthony did of my song, Amor la Distancia, I would have loved to be in the studio. I gotta say it, and this is not to put anybody down, but I don't think he spent enough time singing it. The chorus sounds like him, the chorus of the song, but the verses don't. I got friends telling me, "Well, they didn't know it was Mark Anthony until he got to the chorus." You know, it's because and this is my assumption. You know, I love his voice. What a fantastic singer. But at this point of his career, I don't think he's into spending too much time in the studio. He just does something and walks out of the door, and everybody else go, "Yeah, it's great." But so I wish I was there when he was recording it. Um, when others record my song and it take me by surprise, I mean, how can I say this? To hear other voices singing something that you wrote, something that came to you, you know, as a gift from the universe, is quite a thing because writing your own music is super personal thing. It's so intimate. It's so so you right that sometimes we become a little a little protective of it, right? And if the person that is singing it changes one note on the melody, it kind of rubs you up a little bit, because it's that no, that's not the note. It's another note. But over the years, I have learned to accept it, and to first of all look at it uh, from a gratitude standpoint, and then just to feel lucky that that my song spoke to this person, and look, he's grabbing an even bigger life. So yeah, it's a super interesting thing. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Mina. So I guess in closing out, I'd like to kind of plug like future projects or what you hope for the future. So I'll ask like Christian first, and then Alex, if you want to like close it
Sure.
out, and also yeah, just any kind of projects you have going on, and kind of like what you see for the future, like in the next year or so.
Sounds good.
Okay, go ahead, Christian.
Sure. Well, by now I'm trying to the Latinos con Onda thing, the party, the Birmingham party thing. I'm trying to do like just like not that many, like a small amount of parties, but with more quality. I'm gonna say three per year, at least here in Birmingham. And I'm trying to put that party together in different cities in the USA. I just played in Chicago, just no, not yesterday, Sunday and Saturday. So I'm trying to put the party in different, in different cities. And
What's
uh,
do you have anything coming up? Because I know that you're also a DJ with one of our former guests, who's AP Sways, who's also a musician and producer in town. Are there any upcoming shows that you want to promote? Like, are you having anything coming up?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, this Friday I'm gonna play at Pop, which is it used to be Paper Doll Pop. They like rebranded. I'm gonna play there, and on Saturday I'll play in Adios. Like my DJ thing is like I mean, I'm playing very often here in the city, but yeah, I mean, like I would like to invite everyone to come to Pop this Friday. It's gonna be the first time that the Latin DJs are gonna play there as this new concept. So
Very
yes.
nice. I know that you stay very
Be
busy.
cool. Mhm.
So always something new happening almost every week. So I don't know when you sleep, but thank you so much for all these
Thank you.
awesome events you do. And for you, Alex, what do you have going on the next year?
Oh my God, so many things. But I'd like to say something regarding the work that Christian is doing, and uh, so wonderful, so wonderful. Latin music is at an incredible moment now.
Hmm.
It's strange to nobody in the world anymore, and so it is. I'm sure you know you see that you see people more and more and more from different demographics coming in and enjoying the music.
Hmm.
It is more important than ever, and because we handle music, we have a tool and a way to do it. It's more important than ever to bring boundaries down. I take a lot of pride in the fact that I create a kind of music that doesn't stop Latin people, keeps going. keeps going. I got fans from everywhere in the world. So that is my message. I want, music should be used more than ever to unify it. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you believe. You're human, just like me. So, projects. Yeah, I'm working on a new album. We already released a first single at the beginning of February. The first single of my upcoming album came out. April 4th, we're coming out a second song, which is beautiful with a beautiful message. It's called "Tiempo para Vivir," a time for living. You're in the middle of so much noise. We need to find that time for yourself, and that's exactly the message. But I'm really in love with the song because it has like a mathematical equation, playing with time and stuff like that to, add this, subtract this, multiply this, and you will get this kind of thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the album because the album is coming with a few collaborations from all over the world. The album is gonna see me down in Colombia. It's gonna see me in Mexico. I'm going to Mexico beginning of April to shoot a video there, then also a show. And in Colombia, the same. I have two Colombian artists guests on this album. Basilos, I don't know if you ever heard of them, and Chabuco is another Colombian giant. And so I'm really excited for this album to come out. Lots of touring, and not only in North America, also in Europe, but pumping out music and enjoying it. So, that's my promise to the world, and that's what I do. That's what I'm always doing, and that's what I'm always up to. Thank you so much for this space. I hope you guys had we have more questions?
Let's see. What is the best way to keep aware of when and where where you're DJing around Birmingham? Do you post
Yeah,
this
my
on your
personal Instagram
Instagram?
or the Latinos con Onda Instagram. Add Latinos con Onda or add Mamalon Selector. Mhm.
That's a good name.
And if you are not already, you can follow both Christian and Alex on Instagram. Our latest posts have them tagged. You can find them there. And I was just going to say, like Alex, really looking forward to following your adventures this year through your
Thank you.
Instagram. And living vicariously internationally. That's so much fun. And yeah, very much looking forward to Alex's performance on April 3rd at the Alice Stevens Center. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you for our tech team. Thank you again, Christian, and of course, Alex. And I hope you both have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
Thank you
John.
very much.
Thank you.
Very happy to be
Bye.
here. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Gracias, Alex.
Un abrazo, hermano.
Un abrazo.
Nos vemos pronto.
Así será.